Shalom again. Greetings, brothers and sisters. This is after the RSS number 25, and we've recorded a couple of vids to go a little bit more into explaining the acrostic. I think I said acronistic. That was my bad right there. I meant acrostic. That is where in Hebrew poetry and Hebrew writing, the letters of the Hebrew alphabet are reflected in their order within the poetry or within the particular composition. As a good example, we have Psalm 119, right? So here we have Psalm 119, and you can see this right here. If we scroll to the beginning, in Tobia, what they call today Ethiopia, but Ethiopia is in an interregnum sense, right? Between the visible reign of the King of Kings, right, and this period of grace and decision in the valley of decision, right, before the fullness of the judgment comes forward. This is why we are here to preach a message of repentance to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So on this word, Tzawa, right, I began to really study now the Hebrew letters, and there's a book called the Hebrew Hieroglyphs, right? The Hebrew Hieroglyphs. Let's see if I can bring out some of this right here and share this with you as well. I was looking up, making a couple of links right here. We're speaking on this letter, right? The Hebrew letter. This is actually the same letter right here. This is related to the same letter, the horned, right? Let's grab a copy of this and paste it over here. This was what we were seeing within this revelation from our studies, right? This is all related. This letter right here, it's even a little clearer if you look in what they call Proto-Hebrew or Old Hebrew. If you look at Tzaddi, right, you see right here, it's Tzaddi. Now there's some call this Phoenician as well. This is also called Phoenician, right? That might not be expressly clear right there. We're speaking of this particular letter right here and this letter. These are said to be, so-called two forms of it, right? Let us scroll out. Let's zoom out right here. But let's continue with the Psalm, right? The Psalm right here. We want to show, I think, the book Hebrew Hieroglyphs. Now, that particular letter is related from the glyphs, is related to what's called the Seretes. The Seretes, or the horned viper. Now, okay, here's this particular book right here. And you can see this right here. If we go in, let's zoom in on this. The mystery of the Tzaddi, or the Tzaddi, the Tzadik, right? And here's the book called Hebrew Hieroglyphs. Now, we've been able to print a version of it, and let's see if we can show you the cover right here. Hebrew characters derived from the hieroglyphs. All right, let's see if we can bring this up right here. All right, Hebrew hieroglyphs. So studying the Hebrew hieroglyphs right there. All right, this is also from the same book. This is our publication right there. Without getting too much into all the linguistics at this particular point, let's grab this. Let's scroll back right here and just show ones how they want to look it up. Hebrew hieroglyphics. You can look up Hebrew hieroglyphics, John Lamb. You can find, they have one version here on the Google, if you want to Google the book and you can read it like that. We also have it right here. If you want to order this particular book right here, Hebrew hieroglyphics. All right, Hebrew hieroglyphics. And this is this copy right here. All right, now, it's a very interesting study. The book was from 1835. That's why we found it particularly interesting, right? Hebrew hieroglyphics, because in 1835, from 1835. Now, you don't have to order it, though it's a small book. It's very good, to have if the eye is seeking, is able to get a copy. But you can also look up some of the free copies. You'll find other free copies here, right? And this is a little bit from this particular book right here, right? Comparison to the ancient, right? Before letters became letters, letters stood for various things in nature and also in expression. This is where the key when we're speaking about letters and we're speaking about language and we're speaking about Hebrew and we're studying the Hebrew glyphs. So there are like meanings within meanings, right? Now, when the harmony or the correspondence of the meaning, right, is aligned on all levels, it's like having pure light. It's like the 7 bands. Light makes 7 turns in a prism, right? In a prism, it makes 7 turns. So you can see even the Trinity there concerning the prism, right? And light, and so light has the 7 bands of light. And this is also synonymous with, the various, interpretations, right? The interpretations, and not the interpretation that conflict, but the interpretations that bring out more of the essence. Now here, if we look at this right here, let's see if we can zoom in, right, on this particular, letter right here. And we have it says horned beast. Now, if you look into the si, we have this as si or si, as si. That's the sound. It's a T and an S sound. And now many cultures have this particular sound. Gerald Macy actually touches on it within Book of the Beginnings. And here we're using the PDF version, because his books are so chock full of information. Sometimes we have to specifically, look up certain things, like, for example, right here, speaking about, if we cross-examine, you can see this right here concerning let's see if we can get the cursor right here, get the tool right here. And so now there's a relationship of this letter, right? It's called right here the double sound. Okay, let's actually clear that. It's called the double sound, right? The double sound, right? The double sound of TS, right? The double sound of TS, TZ, right? Lettered in the Hebrew as Tzaddi, right? As Tzaddi. And you can see that there's a little small there, right? Which looks as if it figured the snake with a dual head, or T and S in one. In Hebrew, it expresses the strongest sibilant, right? Look over here. The strongest sibilant, right? The hiss of the snake, or thus the sound that, right? It's a syllabation. It's like the tongue behind the front teeth, and together, right? The snake or the tet was then an earlier tzet and survives in the Hebrew Tzaddi and the English zed, right? And it says this double sound of the T and the S also divides in the same way in Ethiopic and Arabic, right? Within the Ethiopic and the Arabic as well. So this is we can get a little bit more deeper into it, but it's interesting there. Now, the reason why I went there, like I said from the very beginning, right? And when the brother, Dawid had asked about the acrostic, sleek. I gotta practice on that. Acrostic. I was saying acronistic, but it's acrostic. ACROSTIC, acrostic. And you can look that up for yourself as well. An alphabetic acrostic, right? Aleph. So when you look at the first word right here, you have Asher or Esher, which is happiness. And each particular verse does this, each 8 verses in Psalm 119. But now let's go here. This is, I brought that forward in the next vid. Right. I brought that forward in the next vid. But let's go here to, let's see if we can click on here. Go here to, let's look that up again. See if we can. Okay. Here we go. There we go. Verse 137. So 119, 137, and the letter Tzaddi, right? Or Tzadik. Some say the letter should be really called Tzadik. But in the King James Bible, you'll find it